Good morning, everyone. I wanted to give you a little heads up that a rather large storm is making its way toward the United States in the next few days. And it's going to bring some challenging weather with it, including the return of some pretty strong storms. That means we need to be prepared for some gusty winds, the possibility of hail, and a chance for tornadoes. And on top of that, a real risk for flooding could develop over the next few days, especially for our friends in California and even back into the central and southern plains. So, in our chat today, we'll walk through everything you need to know about the weather that's going to affect the United States over the next 7 days. Let's begin with what's happening across the country right now. For those of you in the Northeast, you're waking up to a bit of winter weather this morning. There's a little bit of snow dusting northern New England, so please be careful on the roads. For the rest of the Northeast, it looks like just a rainy day for the next several hours. I know some of you had a bit of a scare last night, as we did have one tornado warning over in southwest Pennsylvania. I'm sure that may have caught some of you by surprise. There was a small chance for some rough weather in the forecast, but thankfully, we didn't see anything too serious come from it. We just saw a few strong wind gusts and maybe a quick little rotation, but outside of that, no tornadoes have been reported from yesterday's activity, which is wonderful news. And so, over the next 24 hours, this storm system will move out to sea. That will make room for our next big storm, which will be coming in from the California coastline in the next couple of days. This morning, that storm is just sitting off the coast near Los Angeles. It's going to travel into the Central Plains later tonight and into early tomorrow morning. That will bring the chance for some scattered showers and a few rumbles of thunder, and maybe even a little bit of snow across the northern plains and the Midwest from Monday into Tuesday. And then, as we look ahead to Wednesday and Thursday, it looks like we'll have yet another big storm coming in off the coast of California. And that's the one we'll really need to watch closely, as it could bring all sorts of stormy weather. We're talking about heavy rain, potential flooding, and a lot of other things to be mindful of. So, it's going to be a busy few days with a couple of different storm systems moving across the country. So, to get a better idea of what's going on, let's take a look at the big currents way up in the atmosphere. Here's what it looks like right now. You can see we have a big dip in the pattern, in the air currents flowing high above the Midwest and the Northeast. And that's what's letting some chillier air settle in and make its way toward New England over the next day or two. Now, there's a little storm system that's just starting to move into California, and that's going to bring some unsettled weather with it tomorrow for the Central Plains and the Ohio Valley. And on top of that, you might even see a little bit of snow. We'll chat more about those details in just a moment, but let's first take a look at how things are shaping up for Monday into Tuesday. That little area of stormy weather will be moving over Nebraska and Iowa. We might see a few stronger storms pop up tomorrow evening, but it really doesn't look like anything too major to worry about. Looking off the coast of California, that's where our next big weather maker will be sitting on Tuesday. This is going to bring more rain to the west coast, which means we'll need to keep an eye on some areas for potential flooding. But the days we'll really want to pay close attention to are Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday across the central and southern plains and the deep south, because we could see some stronger storms and a risk of heavy rain all happening within a 72-hour window. So this is certainly a storm we'll be keeping a close eye on for you. Now, the biggest question for us right now is how this storm develops and how quickly it moves from Wednesday into Thursday. That timing is what will really tell us what to expect from the stronger storms and where the heaviest rain might fall. But it looks like from Wednesday into Thursday is when we'll have some strong winds coming up from the southwest across Oklahoma, Texas, and even parts of Arkansas. This is the kind of setup that can bring some stronger storms with it. We could see things starting to get active as early as Wednesday down in Texas, but Thursday looks to be the main day for the southern plains, with the biggest concern being some gusty, strong winds. And we can't rule out the chance for a few isolated tornadoes, so it's a good time to stay aware of the weather. Then, as we head into Friday and Saturday, this storm system will start to stretch out and weaken. It won't be as organized or as strong as it was earlier in the week, but it could still bring some showers and maybe an isolated strong storm on Friday to parts of the Ohio Valley. And by Saturday and Sunday, it pretty much fizzles out as it gets swept up by the upper air currents and moves on up into Canada. And as we look ahead toward the very end of November, Now, you may have heard some chatter about a big Arctic blast headed our way, and I do believe that sometime during the last few days of November, we're going to feel a real chill in the air as some colder weather moves into the country. But the truth is, nobody knows for sure just yet, and that includes me, exactly how cold it will get or precisely when that colder air will arrive. But it's looking like we'll see a change right around Thanksgiving during that last week of November. All right, let's take a closer look at the big storm system that'll be moving across the country in the next few days. Let's begin with what's happening today. We still have some snow falling across New England and in parts of New York and Pennsylvania too. For the most part, it's just some very light snow, so we aren't expecting a lot of accumulation to build up today. But you might see a few more inches on top of what you got overnight. Then, later today, we'll continue to see plenty of rain along the west coast, with some snow up in the mountains in places like Utah, Nevada, and of course, California. Come early Monday, that storm system will start making its way across the northern plains. It's going to take a bit of an unusual path, heading off to the northeast. It's actually going to track toward the northern plains on Monday morning. And that path is actually good news because it lowers the chances for any rough weather on Monday. We will be keeping an eye on some snowfall for Minnesota and Wisconsin on Monday, so please be aware of that. We could see some spots pick up around 2 to 4 inches, and maybe even 3 to 6 inches of snow from Monday evening into early Tuesday. Now, there is a very small chance for a stray strong storm on Monday evening. The conditions might seem right for some stronger storms over in parts of Oklahoma, but things just aren't expected to line up, and a layer of warmer air above will act like a lid, keeping things calm. So, I really think the chances of any severe weather are basically zero for Monday evening. The only thing I can see happening are a few storms high up in the atmosphere that might drop some small hail in parts of Missouri and Illinois. So, just keep an eye on the sky if you're in those areas. That would mostly be an overnight concern for you folks. Then, on Tuesday morning, the snow will continue for parts of Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. So get ready for a little bit of snow, but again, we're not expecting anything too heavy. Snow from this system, and certainly nothing that would pile up to a foot or more, like that big lake effect snow we all remember from about a week ago. Now, as we look ahead to Wednesday morning, a new weather system will be forming over the desert southwest, and it's going to start gathering some steam through Wednesday afternoon and evening. It's going to be pulling in a lot of moisture from both the Gulf of Mexico and the Pacific Ocean, and that's what will bring a good deal of rain to Texas and Oklahoma starting Wednesday evening and continuing into Thursday. You can really see just how much rain we're expecting in that area. All those greens and yellows on the map mean we're looking at some steady and at times heavy rain for a good part of Wednesday and Thursday. And all of this rain could lead to some flooding concerns, so please be careful in low-lying areas across the central and southern plains. Now, there is a chance for some stronger storms on Wednesday, but it's important to know that right now, it's still a bit up in the air and really depends on how this weather system develops. If those stronger storms do pop up on Wednesday, they'd likely be in parts of Oklahoma and Texas. But if we're going to see a more widespread chance for stormy weather, that would most likely be on Thursday, as the storms will have more energy to work with. The main storm system itself will be a bit more developed by then, too. All the ingredients are coming together, so it does look like things could get a bit messy on Thursday. We'll probably see a few batches of thunderstorms, and the main thing to watch for will be some strong, gusty winds. But we do need to be aware that a few tornadoes will also be possible with this kind of weather pattern, given the way the winds will be behaving on Thursday. So, we'll want everyone from Kansas City all the way down to Houston, Texas to keep a close eye on the weather. And that, of course, includes our friends in Oklahoma City and the Dallas-Fort Worth area on Thursday. Then, as we get into early Friday, this whole system will start moving up into the Midwest. By then, it's going to start to spread out and lose a lot of its punch. So, thankfully, it won't pose much of a risk for strong storms by the time Friday rolls around. Now, if we were to see any leftover rumbles of thunder on Friday, I think they would be mainly over the Mississippi River Valley and into parts of the Ohio Valley. And here's some good news. For Saturday and Sunday, things look to be drying out just in time for the weekend. As we head into next week, well, that's when the forecast gets a little bit harder to pin down. However, Well, it certainly looks like our weather is going to stay busy as we head into the very last week of November. And I'm talking about right around the Thanksgiving holiday and into Black Friday as well. Now, looking at the work week ahead, we're expecting to see a good amount of rain. I know some of you will be happy to hear that, as your gardens will get a lovely watering, but for others, we do need to be mindful of a real flooding concern developing. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are the days we'll see the heaviest and most widespread rain. And you'll notice that we'll have some areas even all the way across. Oklahoma and Texas, that could see a good 2 to 4 inches of rain pretty much everywhere. But take a look at this more focused area right along the Red River Valley. That's our little clue that tells us, yes, we could see some spots get between 4 to 8 inches of rain in a pretty short amount of time. We're talking about all that rain falling in just 24 to 48 hours for some of these communities, which means there's a real chance for some flooding that could get quite serious at times. Now, if we shift our focus to the northern side of this weather system, up through the Midwest, that is where we are expecting to see a widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain. This number includes the rain we'll get over the next 48 hours from that little bit of a weaker system, but it also includes the rain from the main storm coming on Thursday and Friday. And over in the Ohio Valley, it looks like you'll also be getting around 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. So, this will definitely help with the dry conditions, but it's still going to be a whole lot of rain for some folks, especially for our friends in Texas and Oklahoma, where a few spots could get totals pushing up past 8 inches. Now, looking at the next couple of weeks, we are going to have some big up and down swings in our temperatures. Right now, you can see we have warmer than average temperatures all across the Rockies, the West Coast, and down through the Southern Plains too. There's a little pocket of chilly air building right now over the Great Lakes, and as we move into Monday and Tuesday, a lot of that cold air is going to push right into New England and across the Mid-Atlantic. Temperatures are going to feel much colder than they should for this time of year in some spots, even as much as 20 degrees below normal in places like Washington, D.C. come Monday. Then, by Tuesday and Wednesday, the warmer air will start making a comeback. Anywhere east of the Rockies, we will have some chilly air, though, across the desert southwest for Wednesday and Thursday. And then, as we head into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there really isn't going to be a whole lot of change in the temperatures across the United States. In fact, for everyone living east of the Rockies, you'll see very few, if any, cold fronts coming through to shake things up in those areas. We will see a very gentle cold front on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, bringing that chance for some stronger weather, but that is not that bitter Arctic air, so don't you worry. We're talking about maybe a 5 to 10 degree difference in temperatures over a 24-hour period from that front. So really, we're not talking about much of a change toward the end of the week. But by the time we get to the last week of November, and I've been mentioning this a couple of times, we even chatted about it yesterday. I know some posts have been going around on social media about a big Arctic blast, and yes, that is a possibility. It's just a little too early to say for sure when it might happen or just how cold it's going to get. So, please make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Again, I do think the very end of November and the start of December will feel colder than usual for much of the country. It's just a matter of how much of a punch that cold air will pack, but it does look very likely that something is on the way. And if you'd like a second opinion, you don't have to take my word for it. Just take a look at the Climate Prediction Center's forecast for the very end of November into early December. It's showing a higher chance of colder than normal temperatures across the central and northern plains, the Midwest, and back into the Northeast, with warmer than usual temperatures expected across the Southeast. This pattern would certainly open the door for some Arctic air during that time, and we could even see a few snowflakes to go along with it. So, it looks like things are about to get pretty interesting as we close out the month. And as always, thank you all so very much for watching today's forecast. If you're new to our channel, we would love it if you'd subscribe down below. And just a friendly reminder, we do have a sale going on over at shopmaxvelocity.net. We have a ton of different items, including our brand new Happy Holidays merchandise that was just released. You can check it all out at shopmaxvelocity.net. It's also the very first link in the description below. This is by far one of the kindest ways you can support what we do here. That's the kind of helpful information we always aim to share. I hope you'll take a look, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you all again for our next forecast. Until then, Please take good care of yourselves.